So
Yes.
should we start?
Yes, let us start the session, ma'am. So, what is the importance of interpersonal skills?
Okay, so before I say something, why don't you, one of you or you, Anusha, let me know what is interpersonal skills according to you? Nothing right, nothing wrong. Whatever comes to your mind, you can just say that. There's no exam here. We're just learning.
I think it is how you communicate with people around you.
Yes. What else?
You know how you deal with people around you. I think that is. I'm not sure.
No problem. Exactly. So it's all about, to simply put, interpersonal skills are also termed as social skills, people skills, life
Mm-hmm.
skills, soft skills. That's what it means. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
it's extremely important, both in our personal and professional life, because we are not living in a bubble. What I mean by that is we're not living a silo life, right? We're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
In some form, direct, indirect, we are constantly talking to people to build our network, to build a social life. Okay, there's
Mm-hmm.
some kind of communication that we have all the time. So interpersonal skills are hence extremely important when it comes to your corporate. While right now I'm not talking about personal aspect of it, I'm just going to talk about the professional aspect of it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's extremely important when it comes to your professional career. One, it works like a master key, it's like a success key. You know, if you want to grow, because Lord,
Mm-hmm.
most of the employers, and I would say every employer, every manager would want his team to have great social skills. Like I said, we're not living
Mm-hmm.
in a bubble. We're always constantly talking to people in some form or the other. Even if you're working as an individual contributor, where you're not managing a team, yet you are talking to different people. You're
Mm-hmm.
dependent on so many functions, so many different people to get your work done to accomplish your goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is how these skills are extremely imperative for one to have. Now the question is, does everyone have these skills? Answer is no. The next question is, can we build the skills? Of course you can. There is no skill that can't be built. Every skill can be built
Mm-hmm.
only if you understand the gap that you have. Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
interpersonal skills, if I have to name, it would be your communication, verbal, non-verbal. It could be a conflict resolution. It could be a problem solving. Could be decision making. Could be negotiation. Could be a persuasion skill. Could be influencing skill, rapport building, and so on. These are your interpersonal skills which we constantly use it. Most often when you are working in a corporate, especially in the corporate world, right, and when you're not comfortable having an open conversation that can
Mm-hmm.
hold your growth. One, people might not be comfortable talking to you. Two, you yourself are not comfortable talking. Yes, emotional intelligence, emotions, because it also helps you control
Mm-hmm.
your own. It's one of the most important aspects, because we all work with at different level of emotions also. And to be aware of emotional intelligence of your own, you need practice. You need to get aware. It starts with your self awareness. Okay. Now going back, if you are managing a team, for example, if you're a manager and managing a team, it's very important for
Mm-hmm.
you to have great interpersonal skills, because you're constantly going to engage with your team in different forms so that you're able to achieve the goals as a team as a whole. You're also able to understand the temperaments of the people, because we all work with different
Mm-hmm.
temperaments, right? We don't have a same level of working style. Mine could be very aggressive, yours could be very mellowed down, somebody else would be
Mm-hmm.
something. So the manager also needs to understand the different aspects when it comes to, dealing with people. One, if you're not a manager but you are an individual contributor, where you're not managing
Mm-hmm.
people, you are liable to work with different people. Even for that, you need to know interpersonal skills. One, if you want to have an interaction, how would you start the conversation? If you're just clueless, then how are you even going to have that conversation to get moving forward with what you want to achieve, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
extremely. It's also important to understand how cohesively you can work. It's not only
Mm-hmm.
about the conversations are not always about work. We start with small
Mm-hmm.
talk, and then we build a rapport, and then we get into the work kind of a scenario. It always starts somewhere, right? So hence interpersonal skills are the much more in demand today. And yes, they can be developed if you are not good enough. There's nothing to feel bad about it. You could just practice by yourself. The first
Mm-hmm.
step would be to know if you're good in interpersonal skills is by getting a feedback. I'm sure when you're going through appraisals, when you're talking to your friend, when you're talking to your professors, your
Mm-hmm.
mentors, your parents, there's some kind of feedback you constantly get. Ashwini, you're not
Mm-hmm.
good in this. I think you need to improve here. Ashwini, your communication skills are not that so great. Ashwini, your patience
Mm-hmm.
level is not that so, or you're good in this, you're not good in that. That is feedback that we constantly get from people, right? So that is the first step to develop your interpersonal skills.
Okay.
Okay. So the first step is that by seeking feedback, and when you're taking the feedback, just be open about it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
hold grudge. How dare he said that about me? All of that. Don't do that. Just take the feedback, absorb the feedback, and now what you do, take a piece of paper
Mm-hmm.
and write down everything over there. This is the feedback what I've got. I need to work on these aspects. Say for example, somebody says,
Mm-hmm.
Ashwini, you're not great in talking, for example. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not great in talking. Now okay, fine, I got a problem statement now. Okay, Ashwini,
Mm-hmm.
three people have told me, ask five people, out of five people, three people said, Ashwini, you don't speak well. There's no you don't have a great articulation skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I understood the problem. Now my point here is, when I get that feedback, I'm going to work on that feedback. How would I work that? One, I need to first the first step would be, I need to increase my vocabulary, different kind of
Okay.
words. Okay, so I will
Mm-hmm.
take up a dictionary. This is how I have improved my own communication skills. Okay, so I'm just
Mm-hmm.
giving you the tips right now with my own experience. So what I would do is, I'll take a dictionary. Every day I will pick three words. Okay, and I'll write
Mm-hmm.
down in one book or a journal, whatever you're comfortable with. And with those three words, I will make a sentence. Okay, and I will
Mm-hmm.
start using that sentence in my regular conversation. Tip number one. Okay, tip number
Okay.
two, as much as I can, because my English is not great, because my articulation is
Mm-hmm.
not great, I will take an effort of doing that conversation regularly, rather every day, with everybody around me. I will announce it to the
Mm-hmm.
world. Who's my world? My family, my friends, my classmates, and everybody, or my
Mm-hmm.
professional network. Okay, I'll tell them, hey, I need to improve my skills on communication. So please bear with me and help me improve during the conversation. If you feel that I'm not able to articulate well, or there's a mistake I have a grammar problem, or whatever that is, just voice it out to me. So that is the second
Mm-hmm.
step. You need to be okay to do all this. You have, like I said, you need to have a lot of flexibility when you're doing all this. If you have in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, what will he say? Oh, I'll be embarrassed. Oh, all of that will not work here." Because idea here is that you want to improve, so you have to take that step. It starts with you
Mm-hmm.
first, right? But like I said, the motivation is inside us. You're not going to find anywhere else. Nobody's going to come and gift wrap and say, take this motivation and please start. Nobody's going to do that. It's inside you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have to recognize that and start building on it. That is two. Three,
Okay.
read lot of books of your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Could be your newspaper, could be fiction, could be science, could be some thriller, whatever you like. Okay, read
Mm-hmm.
those books, because when you read, you're constantly increasing your knowledge of your vocabulary, your sentences, your grammar, everything. Four, you could also write it down. You hold a pen
Mm-hmm.
and a paper, because your unconscious mind remembers better when you write it down with your own hands, not typing. Write it
Mm-hmm.
down. Okay? You will see the change. Try doing this. This is an excellent
Mm-hmm.
tip I'm giving you right now. Start writing it down all by yourself, whatever you want to remember, and you want to use this damn amazing word in one of the meeting, because you want to impress people, right? The strategic
Mm-hmm.
words, leadership words that we typically talk in the organization, you could use all of that. Start writing it down, and you will see
Mm-hmm.
you're able to remember those words. Okay, that's tip
Mm-hmm.
number four. Five, you could also go through audio. You have a lot of podcasts these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go pick your favorite role model you like to hear, constantly hear them. That is
Mm-hmm.
tip number five. Six, calibration. How would you do that? Um, Watch any documentary, watch any movie in a muted form. Okay, you just
Mm-hmm.
watch, and now you try to calibrate what they're saying,
Okay.
and then
With
you unmute it,
subtitles.
and then understand if your understanding is right or wrong. That's another
Mm-hmm.
brilliant way of learning, improving your communication skills and calibration at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Okay,
Okay.
so these are few tips I'm giving you right now, which you can start like as of now. You can start doing it. It's a no
Mm-hmm.
brainer. You don't need any resources. Everything is available
Mm-hmm.
with you. right now in your house. The book, pen, paper, podcast, everything is available with just one click,
Yes.
right? Just go and start doing that. Then comes how can you develop? Like I said, identify the improvement areas, use these skills
Mm-hmm.
to fill those gaps over there. Then Varun mentioned about emotional intelligence. Yes, that's one of
Intelligence.
the most important to manage your own emotions. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
when you seek feedback, trust me, it is not easy, especially when the feedback is negative.
Mm-hmm.
Because somewhere as humans, we don't want to take that feedback. We are like, we always feel we're perfect, everything is good. How dare he or she tells me that I don't speak well,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever those feedbacks are. So be open for those feedbacks. Because only when you're
Yes.
open for feedbacks, you learn. And when
Mm-hmm.
there's learning, there's a lot of growth. And then when there's a growth, there's success. It's all, connected, right? So if you're not open for the feedback, if you don't go with open mindset,
Mm-hmm.
you're holding your learning, you're holding your own growth over there. So extremely important, that part. Okay. So that is,
Constructive criticism.
so you were saying something.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, constructive feedback. Yes, you're correct. Also acknowledge other people's expertise. See,
Mm-hmm.
everybody comes with some expert SME. If I'm good at something, Anusha, you're good at something else. I know you're super great when it comes to social media, posters and banners.
Mm-hmm.
You're so good. But the question is Ashwini good? No, I'm not good. Okay, but I know you are good. So
Mm-hmm.
I should be appreciating your work. So acknowledging somebody's expertise is also very important, because when we acknowledge this learning, there is sharing that is happening, and interpersonal skill
Mm-hmm.
is all about that. It's not only about having a conversation, it's about sharing the information and also learning the information at the same time. It's a two-way thing going on. I know something, you know
Mm-hmm.
something. In that conversation, I know maybe after 1 month there might be a need I might come across, and I might go to Anusha and say, hey Anusha, could you just help me make one this? So what
Mm-hmm.
is happening in
True.
this phase? You are able to build that network, which possibly you can use it even later on. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what I don't mean here is, it's not about a selfish motive. There are no motives here. It is
Mm-hmm.
about building and expanding your network. It's what it means. That's it,
Okay.
nothing else. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so interpersonal skills help you with that. When you acknowledge somebody, you're gaining something in back. It's like when you give something, automatically you get a lot of things back to you. That's the rule of the universe. You give,
Okay.
when you also
Yes.
get it back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then practice active listening. Nobody in the world is going
Mm-hmm.
to teach you what listening skills are. Nobody in the world. We don't have a curriculum. Unfortunately, we don't have that curriculum, right? People
Mm-hmm.
will only tell you listen. How to listen, nobody's going to tell you. People will tell you focus.
Yes.
Nobody's going to tell you how to focus. If I tell you, Anusha,
Focus.
focus what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, you'll be like, okay, but how do I focus? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so those are the key aspects. So if I have to tell you, when it comes to active listening, that means you're giving your full attention to that person. You're not looking here and there, you're not having different thoughts. Okay, your
Mm-hmm.
body language with your conversation or your verbal communication are in congruence. That means they're marrying
Mm-hmm.
together. When you're doing that listening activity, you're making the other person feel, hey, I am with you, I'm understanding what you're trying to say, even without saying a word. That's where
Mm-hmm.
non-verbal communication comes in. Yes, Varun,
Yes.
that is extremely important. Okay, so that
Mm-hmm.
is listening actively. When you listen actively, you learn a lot of things. How? Because when you listen, now you're in a position to answer back accurately. You are in a position
Yes.
to ask the right questions. You are in a
Mm-hmm.
position to get the right message, what the person wants to tell you. Now you're not assuming things. Most often
Mm-hmm.
you will see after the conversation is over, you'll be like, I think he said something like this. I'm not quite sure,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he said something like this. That means we were not attentive enough when the person was having the conversation with us. And when you put yourself completely into that, that is where the active listen happens. It is again with practice. It is not I tell you something and you will start doing. It takes a lot
Mm-hmm.
of practice to put that complete attention. And focus comes when you are not multitasking. You're doing one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing your awareness into onto that one particular thing at that moment. That is how your focus also builds in. So most often we tell our children, right, focus and study, but please tell them how to focus.
How to
The
focus.
focus happens when you're not doing multitasking, you're doing only one
Mm-hmm.
thing at a time. That is where your awareness is only on that particular object or the writing or reading or whatever that you're doing. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
is one. Then empathy. Okay, the most lacked skill, this is my personal view,
Mm.
the most lacked skill is empathy. There's a difference
Mm-hmm.
between sympathy and empathy.
And
I'm
empathy,
believing
yes.
the audience knows what the difference is, right? Empathy, yeah, empathy, not everybody can have an empathy, but one can
Mm-hmm.
build that skill. Getting a little more sensitive, understanding, putting yourself in the person's shoe,
In the
you're
shoes,
feeling the
yes.
same emotions what the person is feeling just by nodding, oh, I understand. No, you're not understanding. Are you feeling
Mm.
the pain what I'm going through? That is empathy. So that is the most wanted
Mm-hmm.
skill in today's world. And when you have that, it's a great combination because not
Mm-hmm.
everybody comes with that skill, and all the
Yes.
employers look forward for that skill. So when you get a feedback, people who are already working here would have got this feedback or possibly would have heard this feedback. You were not able to handle it well. Very common
Mm-hmm.
feedback, this is in the corporate world. You could have done something better, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody's able to fill that by using the right word, which is empathy. People just need
Mm-hmm.
empathy. That makes you a great leader, that makes you a great manager. The moment you show empathy towards other people, and when people start feeling that, okay, fine, Anusha is, she understands me, she gets what I'm saying, the trust builds, the bond builds, the rapport
Mm-hmm.
builds, there's more openness to the conversation. That is how the relationships are, they also flourish. An extremely
Okay.
important
Mm-hmm.
skill when it comes to interpersonal skills overall. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is what I want to cover today.
Varun is asking, how do you, as a person, inculcate self awareness in the people you meet? What's your way of doing it?
Okay. So the key to thank you, Anusha. Thank you for that. So Varun, over here, when it comes to self-awareness, right, the most important aspect here is slowing down. You have to slow down. I'll give you an example now. Have you ever traveled in a fast train? So when you're traveling in the fast bus or a train, and when you look around outside the window, everything is very unclear. They're very blurred, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't know what objects are going because they're so unclear. That is exactly the kind of life we're living in right now. It's called as a rat race. Okay, you can term whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want. So self awareness comes when you slow down. That means you just stop doing everything and give that me time to yourself. So you start with me time. Even if it is 5 minutes a day, it is okay, but give that
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes just to yourself to understand what is going around you, because when your mind is calm, it's able to think more fruitfully. Otherwise, a lot of activities going around, it gets confused and your mind cannot do two things at the same time. Try doing it, you will fail in that. It can only do one thing at a time. And that is why you have to slow down, go in that phase of, just slow down. It's okay. The day you feel, today I will not do anything, I just want to be in the bed, I don't want to move myself, it's okay. It means your body wants you to do that. Go ahead and do it. And when you do that, you will realize the second or the third day you're bouncing back more aggressively, more positively. Because now what happens when you slow down, you're getting the awareness level. This is exactly what I want, or this is exactly what I don't want. Over here is when you focus on something that you don't want, that exactly is going to happen. You should focus on what you want. There are two different statements here. Don't focus on what you don't want. Your energy flows wherever your focus goes, right? So focus on what you want. When you say what I want, when you know what you want, your energy will flow in that direction. Say, for example, Ashwini wants to, if I want to lose my weight and I keep saying, I don't want to put on my weight. I'm focusing on don't want to put on weight. And my mind doesn't read the negative word, don't. It reads as I want to put on weight. That's how our mind functions, right? So instead, say, you reframe your statements.
Okay, so
Someone
want us to
mentioned who
take.
he's a fresher and looking for a job and preparing for interviews. In fact, this is for everybody. We have got a lot of free contents on our website. Anusha will be sharing that with you. We
Mm.
also have our own podcast. You can go and hear our podcast as well. We are also on LinkedIn. Constant
Yes.
videos and free content are being posted there. So please take complete advantage of that. Even after that, you have any questions, then you can just drop us a message and the team will reach out to you.
Yes, we'd be happy to take up any of your queries or any of your problems. And you can check out all our videos on our YouTube channel. We'd be happy if you subscribe to us and follow us. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining. See you guys.
Bye. Take care.